Huh. Looks like I was having a little bit of technical difficulties today, but we're still good. I was trying to enter in under the link, and for some reason that did not work this week, but we're going to fix it. I'll make sure I put the correct thumbnail on this video. So don't get sidetracked if you happen to see a different thumbnail and then this random live, somehow they got separated. So this just to make sure you guys are aware, this is the live that says feeling like a fraud, scared of high notes. You're not alone. Okay, that's this live. That's what this live is. I'm not sure what happened to the other live, but hey, we're gonna make this work. Let me just do some adjusting here real quick. Yes, because I'm not sure what I did. Let me see. Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on one second. Okay. I think I see what I did, and I need to make sure I don't do that again, which is to set it up to be used with my phone. So when I do these lives, I use my phone because it's just so much easier for me to get to. Okay. So either way, let's keep going, y'all. Happy Worthy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'm just grabbing my notes. And thank you for joining me on this lovely day, and how we as singers remember how worthy we are to have our gift and to even be able to develop that gift. So we just want to start by saying thank you, God, for this time and being able to develop ourselves. And thank you. I thank you, God, for giving me the ability to get on here and share this information and message with our guests, with our vocal village here. So let's talk about it. So let's start with, how we feel about singing just in general. Hey, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today. So, do you ever feel like your voice betrays you when you're trying to sing? Like when you're trying to sing high notes, especially. A lot of singers tend to stray away from singing high notes or just moving their voice because they don't want to go flat. They don't want to go off pitch. And so everything just feels like it needs to be monotone, or you don't really hear where you are going, And so it's one of those things where we have to learn how to trust our voice. Hello. We have to really learn how to trust our voice and trust ourselves and understand that, it takes time to develop ourselves as singers. We can't just, expect ourselves to know how to sing every single note perfectly immediately. Why? Because if you knew how to sing perfectly already, you wouldn't need to coach. You wouldn't need to get the coaching. It's like going to school, right? So you need to take time to really study your craft. And the biggest issue is really trust. Can you trust yourself enough to stay committed to the journey to growing your voice and really developing the singer that you really are, you really want to be, right? The singer that you really want to be is not the same person that first came to the class. The singer that you want to be is the person who's out there getting it, like they're grinding. They are making sure that they go through the fire and can constantly stay committed to developing themselves, practicing, orienting themselves with the language of music and understanding lyricism and performance. And, maybe some people even have, stage fright, need to develop the confidence there too, right? So let's talk about why singers fear high notes. Um, a lot of the times I've noticed singers fear cracking and straining their voice. Like maybe they feel like they're straining their voice. And so, they don't want to sing those notes. Or they might feel embarrassed of themselves. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I remember when I first found out that I am considered a soprano. So I happened to go to a school of the arts when I was in high school. It was my very first time being immersed in the world of music. A lot of the kids who had already been there, they went to the middle school of the arts, La Villa. I didn't even know about La Villa. Being an art school, I just started the art school program when I was in high school, and I went to Douglas Anderson School of the Arts. And I basically remember when I first started that experience, I was placed as a second soprano. Okay, I was placed as a second soprano, and a second soprano is basically the female, or it could be a male voice too, but the typically is a female that sings in a high range, but they typically don't go over like a C5. Sometimes they can go up to a G. I think they can go up to a G5 too, but that might be pushing it. But it's one of those things where they're still considered almost like an alto, because I see altos as soprano twos anyway. But the altos, they may not go past the C5 in most cases. But look up vocal registers. That's what I'm talking about. If you hear me say C4, C5, C this, and or any other like letter alphabet from the notes and music, I'm talking about vocal registers. Maybe I need to make a video on that so that you guys can understand what that is as well. I will do that. If you want to, drop a comment down below and I will make sure I make that video for you, okay? But getting back to this, I was placed as a second soprano, and during that time, I didn't really understand what that meant, why that was the case. But as I got older, I realized that in a chorus, with people who have, and they're young, they're not really trained yet, they don't really know how to control their voice, second soprano was the best spot to put me, okay? And it was because second sopranos, they sing below the first soprano, but they tend to need to add a bit more warmth to the soprano line or register in general in the music. I've noticed that. It's almost like, again, like an alto. Alto, they add a lot of warmth to the music. And so I also realized technique-wise was why they put me in that area. So if you ever get put, well, I should say section. If you ever get placed as a second soprano, especially if you are a newer singer, do not get offended, okay? Look at it as an opportunity to grow and have time to develop your voice, to find out where your voice actually needs to be. Because later on, I realized that I actually am a first soprano. Why? Because, well, let's talk about the Ritz Voices. I was in the Ritz Voices, the Ritz Theater here in Jacksonville, Florida. And the choir director at that time, she said, "You're a first soprano." And I was like, "I am? What? How? How's this possible?" Right? Well, there's certain types of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's certain types of things about the soprano voice that really stick out for a singer to kind of really help determine that. A lot of that has to do with how well they're able to sing higher notes and pitches with ease, with full voice, without feeling strained or feeling tense. So these are nice ways to actually determine, are you a first soprano? Are you a second soprano? Are you an alto, first alto, second alto, tenor, bass, baritone, and first and seconds in between those two, right? If your voice is able to sing those notes and carry that tone with the breath consistently, then you can actually consider yourself to be able to be a soprano, right? But when you're dealing with cracking, straining, it's not, I want you to understand this too, because I've had to share this with a lot of other sopranos. If you are experiencing straining in your voice or cracking in your voice, it does not mean that you are not a soprano. Okay, it does not mean that you're not a soprano. It may be a technique matter that needs to be addressed. Like, are you singing breathy? Are you singing with glottal attacks with your vowels? Because glottal attacks can only happen with vowels, right? Are you singing with the right amount of balance with the muscles with your diaphragm? Are you even engaging your diaphragm when you're singing those high notes? That right there can really trip you up as a soprano. If your vocal regimen is not together, like you don't know your vocal suit as it should be, in order to be able to say, hey, I know how to balance my breath with the vibrating vocal cords and make them work at the same time, and I know how to focus and make the space in my mouth the way that it needs to be, then that's when you know that you have done all your due diligence to be able to determine what voice type you are. If you are singing, say if you are well, someone said you were soprano, right? But you may not really be. Maybe they didn't know and you didn't know. And you would go and attempt to sing a high C, a C6, right? In that register. And you know that you're doing your due diligence to filter out, about your technique, making sure that your technique is where it needs to be. If you are applying all of those things the way that they need to be and it's not working, then that more than likely means that you are not a soprano and that you might need to try out either second soprano. I should say soprano. You're not a first soprano. That might mean that you're not a first soprano. Maybe you're a second soprano or an alto 1 or alto 2. Same thing with the lower voices too. If you are trying to extend your range into a higher range and it's not working for you, then and you're doing everything to make sure that you're using your diaphragm, your breath, you're not sounding breathy, you're not having any glottal attacks, then you know for certain that maybe that's just not the right range for you, right? And you can then experiment. Singing is a big experiment. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I am happy to slap that word onto the experience. You want to know why? Because it is crazy to think that being perfect as a singer is a real thing. It isn't. It is the complete opposite. You should see all of the shedding that I have to go through when I'm practicing with my own self. It is a work. It is a huge work. It is not easy, but it's very worth it. It's much worth it. So, um, so just to address that, if you ever feel like, well, I don't feel like my voice is built to be a soprano. Maybe I'm not built to sing these high notes, or low notes for those of you who sing lower notes, right? But if that's the case, I'm talking about high notes right now. If that's the case, don't count yourself out. Please don't count yourself out. Go seek a vocal coach like myself, whomever that is qualified and able to teach you how to achieve singing in your in a higher range, and developing those skills, techniques, and abilities to oversee that development with you, so you're going in the right direction. All right. um Also, I wanted to mention that, sometimes sopranos do deal with a lot of pressure. We do. All singers do, but especially sopranos, because we're the ones that everybody wants to hear the high notes from, or God forbid you're a coloratura. No offense, coloraturas. I love y'all. Um, and I have some coloratura tendencies as well. But it is a lot of pressure to be able to sing those notes like that, A coloratura is basically, by the way, someone who's able to move their notes pretty quickly when they're singing. Like, one of my favorite songs I like to sing is Rejoice. So they'll do something like, rejoice, rejoice, and shout, 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 rejoice greatly. They're moving their voice around like that. That's what a coloratura does. Versus a lyric soprano who sings much more smoothly. It's not anything, fast or rippling around with the voice, as I call it, right? So like you might hear, hold on, let me get my E. I'm gonna make my B. Hold on one second, y'all. Oh, one moment. I think I was a little sharp. I figured I was a little sharp. Okay. That is lyric. That's a lyric soprano role. So that's someone who, they're not going to be moving their voice around, doing any kind of jumping or anything like that, So just to give you an idea. Let's go on to the next point. Oh, that's what that is. So I did want to point out that I am doing a 4-week singer development course. So if you're feeling like, you're having a hard time singing high notes and, you really want to explore your voice more and work on that development, please join it. I believe I already put it in the description. Oh, you weren't here. If you weren't here earlier in the beginning of the video, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. So I'm going to go back and edit this video. So come back later on this afternoon and look for the link. I have it underneath the thumbnail that's posted on my YouTube. Currently, it's there. But something happened where when I attempted to get into the live, it would not open. So I had to start another live. So I'm going to shift all that information to this video. But in the meantime, if you're looking for it currently, go look for that video. It says the same title for About Today with, feeling worthy singing, like in like if you want to improve your high notes. So oops, feeling like a vocal fraud. That's what it was. I was like, I think I'm going all around the title. So yeah, feeling like a vocal fraud, scared of singing high notes. Go look underneath that tab and you will see the link to the course. My 4-week singers development course. And what I will do in that course, we're going to be meeting once a week. I might boost it a little bit depending on the need. Maybe we'll meet twice a week. I think that would be much more ideal. So let me know if that interests you as far as meeting multiple times a week, like twice a week, just to see how that goes. But we will definitely be focusing on voice, resonance, developing resonance, self-confidence, and worthiness. Can't leave self-worthiness out. And just working on stretching those notes, building that range, stretching the range. So go ahead and click the link in that description when I put that up, or you can go look underneath the other video thumbnail. Next thing I wanted to talk about today, especially since, this is Worthy Wednesday, I wanted to hit the point about how singers feel as if they don't fully deserve to be called a singer, because their voice doesn't, or they feel like their voice doesn't sound as good as a different singer. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm canceling that. I'm canceling it out in the name of Jesus, okay? Because you are worthy to sing. Your voice is worthy to be heard. God gave you your gift for a reason. It's not there for no reason, right? It's not there for nothing. It's there for something. God gave that to you. So it's there for you to develop. It's just like a diamond that has been pulled out of the dirt. And it may not look perfect, but that diamond now needs to go under some work. It needs to go under some good craftsmanship. And the craftsman is going to sit there and put that diamond under some more heat. It's going to shave it. It's going to shape it. It might need to add more pressure to certain things while it's getting it well cut, right? But it's still a diamond, and you can't take that diamond away. You can't make that diamond look worse, right? That diamond needs that pressure. So I'm speaking to you today, sharing that if you feel doubtful about your skill, don't, please. Understand that you are fully worthy to have that skill. That's why it was given to you. If anybody ever tries to tell you, oh, you're not worthy of having something that God gave you, you need to run from them. Run the hell away. Like literally, because they're not good for you. And they're not going to be there to push you, to motivate you. And even with the motivation, like, I'm gonna tell you this. This might sound a little weird, okay? But I'm not one built on motivation. I'm not for motivation. I used to be on the motivation bandwagon, but I'm gonna tell you why I got off the motivation bandwagon. I got off of the motivation bandwagon because the motivation bandwagon only comes around when you feel like it. You ever notice that? The motivation wagon comes when you feel like it. Like if you have one of those mornings, like you might have 3 mornings out of the week where you feel motivated to work on your voice. That is not the best thing to stick with. Motivation wagon. What? No. You still get up and you practice even when you don't feel like it. That's what champions do. I'm a champion. You're a champion, right? That's what we do. And even if you don't fully do that yet, you can work your way into it. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand that you are worthy to develop any skill that God has blessed you with to have. Yes, because he gave it to you. Don't waste that skill. Why would you have a skill, want to waste it, not use it to improve? That's ludicrous. Literally. Okay? Um and comparing your voice to others. Let's talk about that. I spoke on this a little bit last week, but for those who assume that they are not good enough, let's look at that perspective for a moment. I thought that was something when I was a child. I thought it was only something that I would experience in high school, but then I was really surprised at how, there are people who literally carry that with them even into adulthood. And then I started noticing myself kind of internalizing it myself. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's not okay. I am worthy of this gift. I'm not a fraud. I'm really an excellent singer. I believe in that. I believe in myself and my abilities, and you can too. You can believe in your skills and ability to become a better singer, right? So don't compare yourself to another singer's development. They have their own plan that they have to go through, just like you have your own plan that you need to go through in order to develop your ability to sing and shine, right? That's how life is. I cannot give person A one vocal regimen to follow and then person B person A's vocal regimen to follow because they're two different voices, two different people, two different frequencies. It's not going to work. Maybe they do sing the same voice type or voice part. Maybe they're both sopranos, but I shouldn't give both sopranos the same stuff to work on because something about each individual is going to be different, even down to how they learn. I am very big on paying attention to how people learn because that is one of the biggest things that is overlooked even in the education system. That it definitely needs to be looked into, in my opinion. You can't teach everybody the same way, not all the time. Now, are the methods pretty much the same? Yes, but there's this thing called creativity. You have to be creative to help develop yourself when you're training. Don't just say, oh, well, I'm going to do exactly what that person is doing because I'm comparing myself to them. So I'm just going to assume that what that person is doing is going to work for me. No, the instructor has to be creative, and you have to be creative about your own learning and development in music or anything that you do in life. It's just like the other day I was helping my little 8-year-old on a math assignment, and she's been playing electric guitar now for about 2.5 years. And she was like, Mom, I don't understand these fractions. Doesn't make any sense, right? However, I knew something that would help it click for her, and it was music theory. She knows how to count beats. She knows what a quarter note is. She knows what a half note is. She knows what an eighth note is, etc. So we took this big circle, and instead of telling her, hey, this is 1/4, this is that, whatever, I said, this is a quarter note. That's a quarter note. This is a quarter note. That's a quarter note. See, I had to be creative to help break it down for her. And when I did it that way, it made sense. So I say all this to say, don't count yourself out of an opportunity to stand out as unique. Don't compare yourself to other people and how they learn all the time. That is not the best way to develop yourself, especially as a singer. You must look into yourself and figure out what works for you. What kind of transferable learning adaptabilities can you apply to your experience as a singer? Because there's no way in the world that it makes sense to teach a singer the same concepts that was taught to a singer back in the 50s, the same concepts today. That would not make any sense. Some things would have to change. I'm pretty sure ultimately um the root or the goal that we're going for is going to be similar. But our lives are different these days. So you have to change, with the winds sometimes, right? But still be consistent. Don't change too much, right? So the truth is that the only difference between you and a confident singer's belief is that confidence is not about, you know, it's not about hitting the note. It's about trusting your voice to do what it's made to do, and trusting yourself to be able to go through the development that it requires for you to be able to hit those high notes. Um, it's in here. It's in here. It is definitely, you definitely, of course, we have to work with the larynx. We have to work with the soft palate, the tongue and all of those different things, the root of the tongue, understanding how all of those things work together to even achieve singing high notes, and the diaphragm. Let's not forget the diaphragm, the use of that, right? But um, it's just also being able to believe in yourself to get it done, because a person who pulls themselves out of the fire when things are really cooking are the people who never achieve becoming a diamond. They never achieve finding out how high they actually can sing. So you should always remember that you are worthy of that training. You are worthy to be a great singer if that's really what you want to be. And you owe that to yourself 100%, right? So excuse me. So if you are someone who's been struggling with these elements, you've been dealing with self-doubt, I don't know if I can sing. I really want to sing in the choir, but I don't know if I got a good enough voice. Or I want to join the city's choir, but I don't know if I can sing good enough. If these things are going through your mind, I have a vocal guidebook that I also have I'm going to be putting in this description. Is if you weren't here earlier, I put it in underneath the other thumb tab today that says upcoming. We had a little technical issue earlier, but I will be putting it in the description below. So please look for it this later on this morning. Once we're done with our live, I want to make sure that you have that in your hand, because this vocal guidebook is really good for busting down that self-imposter, and working on self-acceptance by looking at yourself, and getting a chance to really know who you are. A lot of us don't really know who we really are. We just know what we've been told that we need to be. But as a singer, you cannot go by that if you want to be successful. I don't know any singer who's successful out there that's saying, hey, I want to look like somebody else who's singing. You're not going to find that, because it's not a real thing. You have to really develop yourself. But I want to help you to break free from that imposter syndrome. And so um for you to be able to access that, go ahead and look in the description below, because it's time for you to own your voice. It's time for you to own your voice and not set to the stereotypes that people have about you and your voice. So grab your copy today. Look in the description. I'll make sure I put that in there in the link in the description down below. And let's see here. Oh, that's what it is. So as a bonus, how to start trusting your high notes. So I would share this because it's not about trying to push to get to the high note. When we do that, we add more stress and tension, and we tend to stress the tongue root, which makes it even harder. Like, we'll try to clench our larynx, our throat, and it shuts things off, so then you don't sing what you intended to sing. But instead of pushing for high notes, you want to really think about floating with the notes, floating them upward with the breath, because you have your vocal cords, like as you heard me mention earlier in the video, your vocal cords, they meet and they vibrate, right? They're vibrating. And as the air is pushing through, it's helping to carry that sound out of your voice. But when you're thinking tight, like you're just really gripping your throat, you're going to prevent the sound from even coming out of you to begin with. So it's best to relax. I love meditating. I love doing yoga. I love doing anything that'll help my body relax in a positive way before I sing. That way, when I get that high note out, it comes out with ease. It's a breeze by that point. It's like, someone stretching before they go run. Before you exercise, you stretch your body. It's the same thing with the singer. We have our stretches we do. One of them for me is meditating, doing yoga, warming up the voice beforehand, doing lip trills. I'll do that again for you. Even go up a half step. Right? So those are things that you want to do to stimulate getting your voice to hit or sing high notes. I don't like using the word hit, but it is commonly used, hitting the high note. I don't like hit because it gives off this idea that you need to push to get to the high note. So, but it is what it is, tomato, right? With that in mind, I wanted to also make sure that I share with you that I have a 5-day diaphragm detective course. I will also be sharing that in the description below. The reason why I decided to come out with this course was because I've noticed how understanding where the diaphragm is, how it functions, and how it helps the singer is most important when it comes to developing a soprano. Oh my gosh, or any singer of that matter, but especially a soprano. If you don't understand how to use the diaphragm to control your voice, you won't sing high notes or any note, right? Depending on the situation, right? So your breath support is the number one thing, really. It really is, because this is what can make or break your high notes. If your foundation, and in this case, it is the breath, is not under control, you will not hit that high note. You will not sing high notes. It just won't happen. So if you're struggling with this, I highly recommend my 5-day diaphragm detective course. And we'll dive deep together through those 5 days. I do have videos in there, but I also will be working with you live in that course, because what I want to make sure is that the application is effective, and that you are having the personable experience and coaching and training that you truly want and deserve. So go ahead and look in the description down below, and about another hour, it will take me a moment to get that over. But I will do my best once this is over with to go ahead and just move that on over here to this video. It's under a different video right now, but I'm going to put it underneath this one, because I want you all to understand that it is possible to sing high notes. You just have to know what parts of the voice need developing and what things need to be altered along the way to help you achieve that. And that's what this 5-day diaphragm detective program course is about. That's what we're going to be doing. Okay. So let's talk about, well, I'm going to get ready to close now because I'm looking at the time. Oh my goodness, this time went by so fast. I love talking to you all so much. So let's see here. So in closing, please understand that your voice is worth developing. You are worth developing. And you should always understand that anything is possible. You can always develop yourself. You are worthy of being developed. You shouldn't ever let anyone, or even yourself, that's why I mean anyone in that case, don't talk yourself out of an opportunity to help mold you. I have people all the time that'll say, hey, how do I stop my voice from cracking? Or how do I sing this high note? Or how do I sing this phrase with more, impact, And my first thing I have to wonder is, do you believe you're worthy of singing it? And I think that way now these days, because a lot of people, when they're being creative, if they know for a fact that they are worthy of achieving something, they will do everything. They will move heaven and earth to get that thing done, because they feel that much more passionate about it than the next person. They will do everything they can to make sure that they're able to achieve those goals. And that's because they believe that they're worthy. They believe that they are worthy of getting that task done and completed. It's not like you have to force them to do it. Like some parents, they may have children who are into music, but the children are not into music because they want to be. They're in there because mom and dad wants them to be, right? And then you have some children who are grown adults now who are still trying to chase that same dream. And they have to realize for themselves if it's what they really want or not. And in some cases, they realize it is what they want, but it had to be on their terms. And in some cases, some people realize, well, that's not really what I wanted in life, and they just move on to something else great, right? But it's important as a performer that we understand, those of us who really love singing, we must understand how worthy we are to be able to achieve and develop such a gift. And understand that it is our obligation as singers to develop our art and to develop ourselves, because if we don't do that, we would have wasted a gift that's been given to us. Just think about that. We would have wasted an opportunity to truly develop that gift that was gifted unto us, to master, So just wanted to put that out there, that it is definitely something that's important to develop. By the way, if what I shared with you today was extremely helpful and beneficial to you, please feel free to share my videos with others whom you know out there who could benefit from them. I greatly appreciate it. It's not required, but I always like to ask that question because you just never know who might need it. Also, look out for any of my shorts coming up this week. I'm going to be focusing on voice types as far as for the soprano, and what types of sopranos exist, what we do, how we sing, how we do what we do. And please share, share those if you would like. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. Let me know what kind of questions you have about the soprano voice this week or any week. Just ask. Let me know. I'm a first soprano. I am a spinto soprano. And proud of it. But yes, it is definitely possible to sing high notes. You just need the right platform and the right guidance. So I will be linking in the description all of those resources that I shared with my guides and my courses, so that you can register and participate with me. You will see me live in those courses. Because again, I want to make sure that you're getting that. There we go. I want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need and deserve, so that we know for a fact that it is helping to guide you and making sure that we're going right for what you're looking for. Also, I'll make sure I put in I have a link also I need to add for like one-on-one sessions. If you'd like to do a one-on-one session with me, please feel free to click that link. I'll also add that into the description so that you can work with me one-on-one. So I can give you, feedback on your voice and your development. We can come up with a plan on how to best help improve your voice. If you have something specific already that you would like, to ask, please feel free to have that ready to talk about in the meeting. And we'll work together on that. All right. Also, it seems like a lot of you guys are enjoying the lives, and I'm happy to see that. I'm enjoying doing them. So let me know, if this is something that you are really enjoying. Please let me know about it. Put a comment below. Let me know what other topics you'd like me to discuss as well regarding the voice, the singer voice. And I'll be happy to do that. Okay? I will definitely be happy to do that for you. Even if it's discussing musical pieces, songs, maybe discussing what types of songs sopranos typically sing, what roles they play. I don't mind getting creative with this thing, but we will still have Worthy Wednesday because I know that, it's in the middle of the week, and these are those moments where, we really need a bit more push sometimes, just to get through the week. And I don't mind being that buffer. I don't mind helping to smooth that over, especially when we're talking about music and the voice. I'm voice all day. Matter of fact, when I get off of here, I'm getting ready to go practice. So, stay, I don't want to say stay motivated, but stay encouraged to keep developing yourself. Sometimes as singers, we get so worked up also on just the singing perspective of things. We don't really take time for ourselves to like develop who we are and understand who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. Sometimes we forget it too. We forget what that mission is or what it was even for because of distractions in life. And, maybe we have other obligations going on. But don't lose sight of your goal no matter what is happening. Stay true to yourself. That's the best thing. And make that special time for you to develop yourself and develop your voice. You know what I mean? Like, You have to do that. I have my separate time where I am developing me. I am meditating. I'm working out. I'm doing other things that I'm doing to work on myself and my family to help us along. Um, and I'm a parent and a wife. So if I can do this, you can too. You just have to find the best way to do it and what works for you. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't necessarily have to do everything the same just because someone else does it, but I'm sharing my part of my journey with you because if you find yourself in a similar situation, know that you don't need to count yourself out. Count yourself in the game. You're going to win. You are worthy. You are worthy to be a beautiful singer. You are worthy of your gift. You are worthy to achieve anything that you have in mind to achieve in life. And don't let the weak beat you up. Oh my gosh, I got something from there. Don't let the weak beat you up. Not just the week, like Monday through Friday or Sunday through Saturday, but don't let the week. And when I'm saying the week, I'm talking about WEAK, the week. Don't let the week break you. Because sometimes, we're out there just shining so bright, doing everything right, and all of a sudden, something weak or someone weak comes and throws that whole week off. Don't let that happen for yourself. You stand consistent with whatever you are doing, and the weak shall flee. The weak shall flee. I believe that 100%. Why? Because that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. I do not let someone else who has not been where I'm going tell me where to go. Okay? That is one of the most craziest things that you could do for yourself sometimes. And I say sometimes because what I don't want to do is to misconstrue those who they may be weak in other areas, but they're strong and knowledgeable in other areas. So just keep an open mind to certain things, but be wise to who you listen to, because not everybody knows the path that's right for you and can tell you what to actually do to help you along the way. I always like listening to people who have been where I want to go because they've gone through it and they know the challenges that may occur for me or may not, but may have seen things that I have not seen yet, and they give me guidance. So again, don't let the weak break you, and don't let the weak, WEAK, break you. You stay strong and stay consistent. Consistency is what will get you through the week. People are so ran to break consistency about on Wednesdays. That's one of the reasons why I host Worthy Wednesdays. Here we are. Worthy Wednesdays for the singer. But we're not going to break that. We're not going to break our week for anybody. We're going to stay strong. We're going to stay consistent. We're going to go after our goals. We're going to drive full throttle. And we're going to make this thing work. Because if you don't try to make it work, you will never know what kind of an outcome you actually could have had you stuck it through. Had you stayed with it. I could have been one of those sopranos or singers that never went to college, never got a degree in music, and I would have been a singer, but I would have never known what I know now. I would have never been able to meet the people that I meet now, or work with the people that I work with now, or train with the people that I train with now. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say you are worth pushing yourself. You are worth not giving up on. Don't give up on yourself. Everybody at times, or I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people tend to point fingers. Well, I'm not doing it because they told me this, or because that happened, or because this happened, or because whatever happened. Well, who took the bait? Them or you? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Did you take the bait? Because You wanted to take the bait? Did you take the bait because you lost track and took the bait? What happened, right? So in this case, we have to remember, we have to stay true to ourselves. Stick to the plan. Don't deviate from your plan. So your plan this week will be to understand that you are worthy. Look and find those resources that work for you. I'm going to add some more resources in the description below for you so that you can look at and see if they are a right fit for you. You could take advantage of those resources and begin your singing journey on that, right? Begin developing who you are. Contact me, please. I'm going to put my contact link down there too. So that if you want to have a discussion with me on your development in voice and singing and what path you need to go on, we can have a discovery call today. Just sign up, right? Sign up so that we can have a conversation. If not today, tomorrow. Whatever works for you, right? And whenever I'm not rehearsing, right? But make sure that in order for yourself to get where you got to go, you put the things in place for you to get there. And I'm laying out resources for you. I'll be putting them in the description once I'm done with this video. I'll be putting them in there for you. And you look at that vocal guide. You look at that self-acceptance guide. You look at that 4-day course that that 5-day course that I'm offering. I also have one that's a 4-week course too. But look at those. Look and see which one of those work best for you, and we will make it happen. But I don't want any more sopranos saying, I can't hit those high notes. Yes, you can, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you exactly how you can sing those high notes, because yes, you can, dear. You can sing those notes. Without a shadow of a doubt, yes, you can. All right? In the meantime, in between time, have a wonderful week. Again, I will be posting more shorts this week that contribute to the soprano voice and their qualities. So keep an eye out for those. Please share any questions that you have about the voice. You don't necessarily have to be a soprano to ask me any questions. If you are a alto or a bass or a tenor and you have questions, you can still reach out to me. You can still get a call. You can still take any of my resources, use those. You don't have to be a soprano in order to use them. I can still teach you, right? All right, community. I just wanted to make sure I poked my head in here today. Gave you some fire to really get you going. I know you can do this. I'm getting ready to go practice my music now. Let me know what you're working on, by the way. If you have any songs that you're working on and you're singing or developing, please share them with me. And please feel free to share this video, this live, with anybody that you feel it would be a blessing to. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week for Worthy Wednesdays for the singer. Take care.